The dark truth about Elvis star Austin Butler. Austin Butler delivered the goods in Elvis's latest biopic, while Australian director Baz Luhrmann brought Elvis Presley to life. With his typical dreamlike approach, it was all about Austin's performance that truly depicted Elvis. In this video, we go through the painstaking effort Butler made to bring Elvis to life. Stay tuned! When Butler was first announced as Luhrmann's pick for the king, the notions of a blonde, former child actor inhabiting the world of Elvis Presley seemed as strange, a mashup as a peanut butter and banana sandwich. But Butler's performance is earning raves from critics and the Presley family alike. The early Oscar buzz is nice, but the latter opinions are what matter most to the actor. "I wanted to make Priscilla proud and do justice to her and her family," he says, a note of awe and gratitude in his voice at the level of support he has received from those who knew Presley best. The beginning of the shoot. Filming for Elvis was originally slanted to begin in Luhrmann's home country of Australia in March 2020. But just days before the shoot started, Tom Hanks, who plays the infamous Colonel Tom Parker in the movie, was unfortunately hospitalized with COVID-19. Productions on the movie was immediately shut down and the crew were forced to move back home. Butler, however, declined the invitations to fly home to LA and instead decided to remain in Australia and use lockdown as an opportunity to fully immerse himself in all things Elvis. According to British GQ, the actor turned his apartment into what was effectively a detective scene, as he dug as deeply as possible into the real-life character that he was portraying. Austin took to publication just images of Elvis everywhere from every time period. "I think the film would have been very different if we had started shooting at that point. And I'm grateful I had the time to let myself marinate. The pandemic was a blessing in disguise for Elvis as he now had the time to prepare for his role." Filming finally began 6 months later, and in that time Austin had learned everything that there is to know about Elvis, having dedicated himself to listening exclusively to the star's music and reading only about his life. Luhrmann was impressed with the dedication. Austin soon found himself connecting to the music legend on a deeper and more personal level when he learned that both he and Elvis had lost their mothers when they were 23 years old. In fact, Austin was so devoted to embodying Elvis that Luhrmann was sometimes unable to differentiate between when he was in character and when he was being himself. In an interview with GQ, Luhrmann said, "I asked one of my assistants, and the guy said, 'Well, he's not Southern, he's from Anaheim, California.' I don't think until recently I actually came to understand how Austin actually sounded." Austin got sick after completing filming. Austin was so dedicated and determined to do justice to his role of the king of rock and roll, and he ultimately ended up losing touch with his own identity. "You can lose touch with who you actually are, and I definitely had that when I finished Elvis, not knowing who I was," he explained. But the impact of giving so much of himself to the role for such a long period of time ended up having serious consequences. And the day after the project wrapped in March 2021, Austin was rushed to the hospital as his body began shutting down. Austin revealed how he woke up in excruciating pain and landed in the hospital. He said, "The next day I woke up at 4 in the morning with excruciating pain, and I was rushed to hospital," he shared. "My body just started shutting down the day after I finished Elvis." Austin ended up being bedridden for a week after he was diagnosed with a virus that simulates appendicitis. Despite the health scare, Austin did not waste any time on taking it easy and instead flew to London as soon as he recovered to start work on his next project, Masters of the Air, which included being put through a mock military boot camp. In a reflection of the incredibly short turnaround between the two shoots, Austin confessed that he still felt like he was channeling Elvis after he landed in London, even in his new role as a World War II Army major. In fact, his new director, Cary Fukunaga, said that he was aware that Austin was still very much Elvis when he arrived for filming. Austin even imagined what Elvis felt like when he was enlisted to the army. Butler said, "I was like, this is what Elvis felt when he was put into the army. You know, performing, and the glamour of it, and hearing screaming fans, and then suddenly you're just dressed like everybody else in those fatigues." While he may have struggled to shake off the king of rock and roll, Austin's dedications to his craft and impeccable work ethic are literally what landed him the role in the first place. Well, that's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. Thanks for watching.